KREM 2 News begins now.
Hello, thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News Week in Review. I'm Tim Pham. In the next half hour, we'll get you caught up on some of the biggest stories in the Inland Northwest this past week.
What we know as of right now is that this is part of a greater project to get all of that toxic waste out of Hanford. Now, this new route through Spokane was recently approved by the U.S. Department of Energy, despite city leaders writing letters opposing it.
It poses a significant risk. It's one that we want to avoid.
Back in September, Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown sent a letter to state leaders urging them to reconsider this initial plan to bring this waste from the Hanford nuclear site in the Tri-Cities through Spokane. City council leaders joined her in an effort to prevent future transportation of millions of gallons of hazardous waste.
I'm disappointed that they have said, well, we're just shipping it that way and you don't have a say.
County Commissioner Amber Waldriff, who also serves on the Hanford Advisory Board, says she told city leaders about the plan before the route was finalized. She says while it isn't the outcome the city was hoping for, this has opened the door to more dialogue between city and state leaders.
But I'm hopeful that in the next 3 years, before they ship more, that we have a say in what that's going to look like for all the different types of waste that they want to remove from the site.
In response to Mayor Brown's letter, the Washington Department of Ecology clarified what it called misunderstandings about the future projects. In the letter, the Department of Ecology says there is a difference between this plan and Hanford's long-term cleanup plans. The Testbed Initiative, which is the current project to ship 2,000 gallons of pre-treated liquid waste from Hanford to disposal sites in Andrews, Texas and Clive, Utah. The department says it's basically a test run that went through a robust public approval process. The second project is part of a bigger agreement between the Department of Energy, Ecology, and the EPA to treat waste from 22 underground tanks at Hanford that will start no earlier than 2028. However, I'm told the Department of Energy has not made any decisions yet on potential routes. A Hanford site spokesperson for the Department of Energy says the waste is expected to be treated by the end of this year and transported sometime next year via trucks in government-regulated totes. We now know that it will be 2 separate 1,000-gallon shipments. In a fact sheet sent with the letter to Mayor Brown, the Department of Energy says if there were to be a severe accident along the route, the radiation exposure for a person would be less than that of a single abdominal X-ray.
It's a wonderful opportunity, and I think we need to treat it like that, an opportunity for us to come together, to learn, and to do better, and to figure out how to be in support of the cleanup and do it safely.
Now, that letter says that the Department of Ecology has requested a meeting with Mayor Brown to discuss this plan. Now, I also did reach out to Mayor Brown's office, but she said that she was unavailable because she is still evaluating this letter from the Department of Ecology. Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
The reports came into Eastern Washington's campus police Monday morning. 2 students, 2 separate parties. 2 close calls that are too close for comfort for Chief Jay Day.
It's very concerning for us just because of the volume of students that we have that are out on the weekends.
EWU's now warning students to watch out for date rape druggings after these 2 students experienced symptoms consistent with being roofied. Chief Day says it happened at 2 off-campus houses. An email was quickly sent alerting campus, including freshman Brianna Martinez, who considered a party to celebrate her first week of classes.
It kind of makes me feel like, wow, what would have happened if I did go to those? So it's definitely scary.
The university has some advice for students to protect themselves. Don't accept open drinks, avoid punch bowls where anyone has access, don't leave a drink unattended.
If you haven't seen it from it being poured to you taking it to ingest it, don't drink it. If you didn't pop it, don't drink it.
And Day says, speak up when something's suspicious.
Be a good friend, be a good teammate. Keep eyes on one another.
Chief Day says it appears these students did have that good group of friends who noticed something was wrong, got their friends to safety, then helped them report it.
When our students have things happen to them, we make every effort to put the power back in their hands.
Empowering students to report and immediately get tested if they suspect they've been drugged. Day says that can help connect other incidents and provide valuable evidence, even if students decide not to go through with a full investigation.
We support you 100%. It's on the record. If you ever change your mind, here's our number, here's where we are, come and talk to us, and we'll make sure to walk down that road with you hand in hand to get you the help that you need.
For Martinez, it's a first college lesson on caution if she does end up going out.
So,
Shannon Mowdy.
I don't know. I definitely think about not going, and
KREM 2 News.
because of that incident.
Well, this is the city of Spokane's first announcement regarding layoffs as it works to address its $50 million deficit it's projecting for next year's budget. Now, the city is estimating with these 29 potential layoffs on the table, the city could save about $3.4 million.
29 Spokane City employee jobs are at stake. The city issued layoff notices last week as it searches for ways to dig out of the $50 million deficit for next year's budget. That total includes a $25 million deficit in the general fund, which pays for things like the city's police and fire departments. With 29 potential layoffs on the table, the city says that would save roughly $3.4 million. That amount, combined with previous cost-cutting measures, would drop the general fund deficit from $25 to roughly $7.5 million.
Is there more to come?
No, not to my knowledge. The idea at this point is that 29 is where we have settled for this year.
City spokesperson Aaron Hutt says a final decision with the layoffs depend on the outcome of current union negotiations, the proposed community safety sales tax, and the final budget, which City Council is scheduled to pass at the end of the year.
We've had a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions about it. Again, I don't know that we have any magic bullets or anything like that. A lot of this is going to depend a bit on, some of the things that the administration is doing and only they can do, like the union negotiations and things like that.
Meantime, Mayor Lisa Brown's preliminary budget proposal, which could include the 29 layoffs, isn't due until November.
Why now? Why make those notices now when there's still so much time left?
It's, out of fairness to our employees who are impacted. We didn't want it to be a situation where we said in November, right ahead of the holiday season, hey, you're in a situation that you could potentially be laid off.
Now, all 29 city employees who could be laid off are in union positions. The city says the departments that will be most impacted are accounting, criminal justice, and IT. Reporting from Spokane City Hall, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
I managed to speak with Spokane Fire Chief Julie Oberg, and she tells me that the Fire Academy training for this entire year has been shut down and will be open in 2025. She tells me that this being shut down was inevitable as the department looks to the budget when it comes to their staff and their equipment. This is where Spokane Fire would hold their annual Fire Academy training, doing the physical work outside and the coursework in a classroom. But for the rest of 2024, it's canceled.
The Fire Academy is an expensive proposition.
Expensive at $750,000. Spokane Fire Chief Julie Oberg says the decision for it to be cut was due to the $50 million budget deficit. But Oberg says the decision also is due to the department feeling comfortable this year with that cancellation due to what the department's been able to compensate for after the pandemic.
The last 2.5 years, the department has been doing 2 academies a year in order to rebuild our relief pool.
A relief pool is a group able to work as needed as staff take vacation or sick leave. During COVID, Oberg says the relief pool was limited due to COVID protocols, but now Oberg says it's not.
While that relief pool was not where we wanted it to be for a final number, it's healthier than it had been in a while.
Planning for training next year, emphasizing a vote this November, Oberg says is a need for first responders in Spokane.
The community safety sales tax proposal will be on the November ballot.
0.1% or $1 every $1,000 spent, excluding necessities like food, prescription drugs, or rent.
We are rebuilding our capital fleet to make sure that we have a healthy fleet of fire trucks and ladder trucks and brush trucks that honestly we've been rebuilding now for a couple of years.
Oberg says the Fire Academy training being cut this year is not a setback, but hopes the proposal will be voted in favor come November.
We felt comfortable this year that our numbers were healthier so that we could manage our overtime budget without it getting completely out of control and take 1 year away from Academy, and then we'll pick back up in 25.
Now, information on that proposed tax, more information rather, can be found on our website. That's KREM.com. In Spokane, Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus for your KREM 2 News Week in Review. It's been a busy week here in the Inland Northwest. Let's get you caught up on some of the news you might have missed.
Well, I mean, ultimately, this is the beginning of a new era for not only Gonzaga, but for Spokane as well. Of course, we've heard rumblings over the last few years about what would the Zags do in terms of their future conference play. Well, we now know they'll be joining the Pac-12, leaving the WCC, but still playing out here on the West Coast was a big factor in making this decision. Yesterday, we learned that as well in the press conference, because we've seen so many different schools over these last few years be impacted by conference realignment, with schools on the Pacific Coast even committing to conference play across the country. GU President Thane McCullough spoke on that and the importance of a strong regional situation.
The question time and time again is, what is the impact going to be on the student-athlete experience? And I mean that both in terms of athletic opportunity, but also academic opportunity.
And KREM 2's Andrew Quinn also asked both the president and sports director about the financial impact of the move to the Pac-12 as well.
This is a better situation for us financially, without question. It is an opportunity for us to invest more directly in our student athletes and create a more robust experience for them.
So the Zags will have one more year in the WCC. GU will officially join the Pac-12 on July 1st, 2026. Also keep in mind that the Pac-12 is not done making moves as their rebuild continues. The conference still needs to add one more school with a football program to legally remain a conference according to NCAA rule. They'll have until 2026 to do that, but we'll keep a close eye on what could be next, and of course that move could be coming soon, especially with all the new moves that have been happening over the course of these last 2 weeks. But for now, reporting here near GU's campus, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
It's huge news for sports fans, especially, of course, basketball fans across social media. A lot of reaction to get to, starting with what the conferences had to say about the move. Both the Pac-12 and the WCC put out statements today. WCC statements saying in part, quote, Gonzaga has been a valued member of the WCC for more than 4 decades. During this span, GU has represented the conference on the national stage with postseason success across several sports, stating the WCC remains focused on the future and ability to contend for championships. Pac-12 also released a statement with Commissioner Teresa Gold saying, we are delighted to welcome Gonzaga into the Pac-12 as they embark with us on this incredible path ahead. President McCullough and Athletics Director Chris Stanford not only bring strategic expertise and forward thinking to the conference, but they are two incredible leaders who care deeply about student success and fortifying student-athlete academic and athletic experiences. Today represents an exciting milestone for the Pac-12 as we welcome another outstanding institution with a rich history of success into our league. Lots of reaction as well on social media with some interesting insights. Seattle AP sports writer Tim Booth pointing out the new Pac-12 as it stands right now has sent 6 of its 8 schools to the NCAA men's basketball tournament last season. Pretty good odds, and adding to the general reaction, it's looking like a strong basketball conference. But it brings up an interesting dilemma for fans of both Gonzaga and WSU. WSU professor Matt Lovelace adding to Coug fan Brett Ward's discourse, is being a fan of both schools still acceptable, or is it now too much of a rivalry? Lovelace says when he returned to Pullman, dual allegiance was far more common than when he left, and we may be headed back to the way it used to be. Of course, that applies to just basketball, but there's also buzz on social media advocating for Gonzaga to bring back its football program. Just to be clear, no indication so far that football will return to Gonzaga. However, according to Gonzaga's archives and library, their last football game was in 1941. It ended in a 59-0 loss to a school you may be familiar with that was formerly called Washington State College. Looks like we may have most of the elements of a renewed rivalry here. In studio, Caitlin Galloway, KREM 2 Sports.
Hey guys, yeah, so I'm in the heart of Gonzaga campus right now where I got to talk to some of the local bars that serve the student population here. With a mix of both Coug and Zag fans in the Spokane community, the businesses could not be more excited.
Jack and Dan's, a Gonzaga fan favorite to visit for games, friends, and a good time, says it welcomes Coug fans for the new rivalry, but their loyalty holds strong.
Obviously, we're always going to be a Zag bar first and foremost. That's just kind of been our thing, being right across the street. But we would support any Washington team all the time. We wrote for the Cougs during football, and obviously we do play them every once in a while, and we definitely see a divided crowd in here.
Right across the street at Logan's Tavern, staff says more fans from both teams, the better for business.
Having a close rivalry game is going to be top-notch. And it's only going to help the businesses around here also. If it's based on my paycheck, go Zags. If it's for the love of the game, go Cougs.
The businesses expect more crowds in the area, and when the kennel cannot fit both Washington State and Gonzaga fans, their doors will be ready and welcoming, making the bar atmosphere much more competitive and downright fun. Even though the Zags do not join the conference until 2026, Jack and Dan's told us fans better get here early on game days.
So with the split between Washington State and Gonzaga fans right here in Spokane, the businesses are ready for the even bigger and more intense crowds, making it an exciting time to live right here in Spokane. I'm on Gonzaga campus with KREM 2 News, Regan Gallup.
Tell how messy my office must be by the fact that I can just reach in and get old Tom's Turkey Drive t-shirts. So I was going through the shirts this morning and we wanted to take a look at some past winners. Look how cute these are, you guys. We have so many cute t-shirts that have happened over the year because kids took the time to make drawings that then we can share with hundreds, if not thousands of people with the Tom's Turkey Drive t-shirts. This one we always loved. They're driving a car. Get it? Tom's Turkey Drive?
Love it.
Get it?
Oh, that's adorable.
Okay, so here are the rules. Basically, anyone 17 years old or younger can enter the contest. All they need to do, take crayons, pens, pencils, markers, whatever medium they like, they can paint, and they create a Tom's Turkey Drive turkey. So draw a turkey, use the words Tom's Turkey Drive, maybe throw in the words 25th anniversary.
Wow,
we're
been
pretty
25
excited.
years.
Wow. Yes, we're very excited to celebrate. And then parents, you snap a picture and boom, you can load it right on KREM.com on the Tom's Turkey Drive page. We've tried to make it pretty simple this year. All the rules are on KREM.com as well. And then the winning artwork ends up on a t-shirt. And then they get a prize from Numerica Credit Union as well.
We like prizes.
Love that.
We like prizes. And I should mention our friends at Numerica, they actually end up picking the official winner.
Okay, so we don't have a say in it.
No.
I wouldn't say we don't have a say, but we take a look at them and we do judging based on different things, and then we send over some of the tops.
And it's a lot harder than it looks because remember, we all tried it last year
did
making
hand
our
turkeys.
t-shirts.
Do you still have those t-shirts? There was a lot of glitter.
There's a lot of glitter, as there should be. When you're with this one,
I have glittery shoes. I wish I could show
Yes.
them to you. They're full bling.
Can you put your foot up here? Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I love it. Well,
So you're saying if Laura had her way, it would be the most glitter really wins.
I will just in case mom and dad's listening. We can't translate the glitter on here, but I would like to see.
Afterwards.
Right, I would love to see glitter pictures nonetheless. So let us know. It's very simple. The kids. If they're bored this weekend, give them some just an 8.5 by 10 piece of paper or a regular size piece of blank paper and let them go. And then you just snap a picture. Keep your artwork, by the way, because if they do win, we need the original artwork.
Yes. And I will say, think about this. If you've participated in this contest before, this year is for the 25th anniversary shirt. That's pretty special.
Yeah.
So you want to participate again.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely a big deal. And we'll make sure to bring on the winning artist on TV with Tom Sherry. It's
the head turkey
the
himself.
head turkey himself. We are just the drumettes. Yeah. The head turkey himself will be here for Tom's Turkey Drive. And it's one of his favorite things to do is to award the person, the student, the kid, with their winning t-shirt.
I love it.
Oh, that's gonna be
it'll be a lot of
exciting.
fun. It's a fan favorite around here at KREM. We hope it's one of yours as well. So get the kids, grandkids, if you're babysitting, get the kids going and enter Tom's Turkey Drive t-shirt.
Well, when I first spoke with Chuck Bomey on the phone Monday night, he had just gotten done helping feed about 300 evacuees dinner. As it turns out, this isn't his first deployment with the American Red Cross. This isn't Chuck Bomey's first time deploying with the American Red Cross.
Maybe 20, 25 times.
He and his wife started volunteering back in 2009, with past assignments taking them to the Oso mudslide, the Lahaina fires, and Hurricane Sandy. Now the Spokane natives in North Carolina helping at an evacuation shelter just outside of Asheville, one of the most devastated areas in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene.
People are sleeping on cots, and a lot of them have lost everything.
According to the American Red Cross Northwest region, Bomey's one of about 20 volunteers responding to the Helene disaster from the Pacific Northwest. He arrived this past weekend. Since then, he's seen some of the devastation, including downed trees and long lines at the gas station as people struggle in the storm's aftermath.
It's becoming a little bit easier as the days go on, getting supplies.
While he's never lost a home in a disaster, Bomey experienced some loss in last year's Gray Fire, when a friend living in Medical Lake agreed to let him park his motorhome and car at their house.
He called us in Tucson and says, we have to evacuate. And consequently, he did save our motorhome. Our car burned up, but he did it at the expense of his entire house.
Bomey's expected to stay in North Carolina for 2 weeks, but if there's one thing he's learned while volunteering, is that people are stronger than they think.
People who go through these things find that they have a lot of resiliency.
Now, as for how long Bomey plans to keep volunteering, he says he'll continue to do so for as long as he's able to. In the studio, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
Well, you won't have to deal with those detours too much longer. We actually spoke with city officials, and they told us over the course of these past few months, they've worked on more than 40 different road projects. So that includes multiple type of projects like street improvement, paving, maintenance, pedestrian improvements, and major projects like the one we've seen at Cheney Spokane Road, which ultimately require crews to go underneath the road and improve utilities in that area. But listen to this, just within the city limits of Spokane, there's 2,200 lane miles that the city has to maintain.
So that takes time, and it has to be done over a period of time. There's no way we can get it all done at one time. And this year has been challenging. We've had some very challenging detours, and we understand that, but especially in Northeast Spokane, where you had, Bigelow Gulch with the county being done, the North Spokane corridor being done with WashDOT, and then we needed to do some work to tie into those projects as well.
There is light at the end of the tunnel, though. City officials say the last major projects for their season with the most impact, something that we're standing in front of right now, the Washington-Stevens corridor.
But while we're doing that, we wanted to make sure we're looking at the full corridor so that we're not interrupting that corridor again next year or the year after. So we anticipate that that'll be fully functional here in the next month at the end of construction season.
So we're looking at just a few more weeks of construction season, end of October, beginning of early November. Those are the dates that you have to keep in mind, and when we can officially start to see most of these crews wrap up their season. But for now, reporting here in downtown Spokane, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
Thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News Weekend Review. For the most current news throughout the weekend, you can watch our latest newscast and weather forecast right here on KREM 2+. Just look for the video in the bottom navigation menu. I'm Tim Pham. Thanks for watching.